Level 1. The extra set of hands. Coolant is already spreading across the parking lot when you step out of your car. The meet is over. Most of the engines are gone, the music has faded, and the people who spent the night filming burnouts are suddenly too busy to help. One coupe sits crooked beneath a flickering light, its hood open, steam lifting into the humid air. The driver is shouting at the mechanic. Someone else is blaming a bad tune. 3 phones are recording. You are 19, new to the city, and working long days at an alignment shop. Your own car is clean, dependable, and almost completely stock. Nobody came here to see it. You have no crew sticker, no reputation, and no reason to be standing in the middle of this argument. But you stop the filming. You tell one person to find absorbent pads, another to move the loose tools, and the driver to step away long enough for the engine to cool. You crawl near the front bumper, find the split hose, and explain that nobody is driving the car home tonight. There is no dramatic repair, no hidden talent that saves the machine in 5 minutes. You simply find a tow, make sure the driver has a ride, and stay until the parking lot is empty. That is what people remember. Not the fastest pass, not the loudest exhaust. The fact that when everyone else disappeared, you remained. 2 days later, an unfamiliar number adds you to a group chat. The messages are mostly jokes, engine photos, and arguments about whose car is quicker. You barely speak. You just answer when someone asks which tools to bring. By Friday night, your phone lights up with a new message. Bring your tools. You still do not have the fastest car in the crew. But for the first time, they are waiting for you before they leave. Level 2. The second car. By the next month, your weekends no longer belong to you. Friday nights are for checking tire pressure, charging jump packs, and answering messages from people who never plan ahead. Saturdays disappear into parking lots, roadside shoulders, and garages where every problem becomes urgent once an engine starts making noise. You are still not the quickest driver in the group. You are the second car. When someone makes a pull, you follow. When a warning light appears, you slow down behind them. Your trunk carries tools, coolant, tape, gloves, and enough spare parts to solve the problems that would otherwise leave someone stranded. The crew begins to treat reliability like a personality trait. One member films everything. Another only appears when there is a chance to race. A mechanic wants every build to prove his work is better than the next shop's. You are the one remembering who needs fuel, who has no ride home, and who should not be driving angry. Then Marcus cracks a wheel and damages a tire he cannot afford to replace. He promises he will pay you back after payday. You cover the bill before the rest of the crew learns how short he is on money. It feels like loyalty. You tell yourself the crew survives because nobody gets abandoned over one bad night. Payday comes. Marcus avoids the subject. You do not confront him. Instead, you work an extra shift and say nothing. That silence creates a rule nobody voted on. When a member cannot carry the cost of a decision, you will carry it for them. Subscribe if you want to see how far one useful night can take you. Your bank balance is almost empty when Marcus posts a photo of the repaired car. Under it, he writes 2 words that make the cost feel worth it. Our crew. Level 3. The garage key. The key feels heavier than it should. Naya places it in your palm outside a narrow 2-bay garage behind an industrial strip. The concrete is stained. One light flickers and the office barely fits a desk. But it gives the crew something a parking lot never could. A place that belongs to them. Nia signs the lease because her credit is clean. You manage everything else. You create a schedule for the lifts, label the shared tools, and write basic rules on a whiteboard. Clean your space. Replace what you break. Pay your portion before the 1st of the month. Within weeks, the board becomes decoration. One member leaves parts across the floor. Another stores a disabled car in the 2nd bay for nearly a month. People invite friends who use the tools but never contribute. Every disagreement reaches you because nobody wants to tell a friend no. The garage changes your place in the crew. You are no longer just the second car carrying supplies. You are the person with the key, so every locked door, missing socket, and unpaid bill becomes your problem. At the end of the 1st month, the contributions come up short. Nia shows you the numbers. Some members paid late. 2 paid nothing. Several insist they barely used the space and should not owe the same amount. You could post the unpaid names in the group chat. Instead, you cover part of the shortage and ask Naya to handle the rest quietly. You tell yourself public pressure would embarrass people and divide the crew. Nia pays. Nobody thanks her because nobody knows us. That night, she asks how many members the crew actually has. You open the group chat and count 43 names. Then you look around the garage and realize only 9 people have ever held a broom, paid a bill, or stayed after midnight to help someone else. You answer 43 anyway. Level 4. The windshield name. The first sticker is smaller than your hand. A crew member designs it at the garage using sharp letters and a simple outline that looks fast even when the car is parked. 6 copies are printed, 1 for each person who has paid, worked, and stayed late enough to earn one. At first, the banner means something. It tells strangers that the driver belongs to the same group that shares tools, covers tow bills, and shows up when a transmission breaks far from home. You recognize every windshield carrying the name. Then a short video changes the scale. One of your cars wins a late-night run against a better-known group. The clip spreads beyond the usual pages. Messages arrive from people in other neighborhoods asking where they can buy the sticker. Someone suggests shirts. Another member calculates that a few dozen sales could cover the garage shortage. Naya objects. She says the name should identify members, not customers. If anyone can buy the banner, nobody will know who represents the crew, follows the rules, or answers when something goes wrong. You understand the warning. You also see the rent notice on the desk. So you approve a public sale. The first batch disappears in 2 days. The garage bill gets paid. A second order follows, then shirts, then social pages, reposting cars you have never seen. The crew looks larger online than it does inside the building. Would you keep the name private or let it grow? You tell yourself the logo will encourage new people to act like members before they officially become members. You imagine the name creating discipline. Instead, it creates access. One night, you pull into a gas station and see the banner across the windshield of a car you do not recognize. The driver notices you looking, smiles, and taps the glass like the two of you already belong to the same thing. You smile back. But you do not know his name. Level 5. The tiebreaker. The garage is silent after the biggest win your crew has ever claimed. Jalen's car sits in the center bay, hood open, heat rolling from the engine, while phones replay the same grainy clip from different angles. The other driver arrived with more power, more followers, and a crew that had spent the week laughing at yours online. Jalen beat him clean enough that even the comments cannot argue about it. By morning, your name is attached to the result. Other crews start messaging you instead of individual drivers. They ask which cars represent your group, who is allowed to speak for it, and whether a challenge posted online is real. When 2 drivers disagree about a run, both send you the footage as if your opinion can turn an argument into a fact. You are no longer the person carrying tools behind everyone else. You are the tiebreaker. Jalen makes that authority possible. He is the fastest driver in the crew, aggressive without looking careless, and loyal whenever another group disrespects the name. His victories fill the garage, sell shirts, and bring in members who would never have noticed you before. But Jalen believes the road decides everything. When Nia questions how many strangers are arriving under the crew banner, he says rules are what slow groups invent after they stop winning. Younger members repeat the line. They copy his timing, his attitude, and the way he treats every disagreement like something that can be settled with a race. You see the danger, but you also see the rent paid early for the first time. So when another crew asks who represents your name, you choose Jalen again. The decision works. He wins. The clip spreads farther than the last one. Thousands of people hear someone call you the leader. None of them hear the argument before the engine started, when you told Jalen the night felt wrong, and he answered that leaders do not get remembered for canceled races. Level 6. The driver you bench. The decision is made before Jalen starts the engine. The road is damp in patches, traffic is heavier than expected, and too many unfamiliar cars are circling the area. Several drivers arrived without anyone in the crew knowing who invited them. Phones are already pointed toward the starting line, waiting for something reckless enough to post. Jalen says conditions are manageable. You say the crew is done for the night. At first he laughs. Then he realizes you are serious. He reminds you how many wins paid the garage rent, how many members joined because of his car, and how often you defended him when other crews called him reckless. He says a leader who cancels every time the night feels imperfect will eventually lead nobody. Part of you believes him. But you also notice the younger drivers watching. Whatever you allow Jalen to do will become permission for everyone standing behind him. You tell him he can leave, but he cannot run under the crew name. The argument is quiet enough that no video captures the worst of it. Jalen removes the windshield banner himself. By morning, he has left the group chat. 4 drivers follow him. 2 more stop paying for the garage. The social pages lose momentum almost immediately. There is no dramatic crash to prove you were right. No police lights. No injured stranger. No headline that turns caution into heroism. There is only the empty space where Jalen's car used to sit, and a rent bill that no longer balances. Like the video, if you think leadership begins when winning stops being the only answer. The following week, the garage is so quiet that you can hear the fluorescent lights buzzing above the unused lift. You made the decision a leader was supposed to make. For the first time, doing the right thing makes the crew weaker. Level 7, the open invite. The crew looks larger than ever online. Inside the garage, the opposite is true. Jalen is gone. Several regulars left with him, and the monthly contributions no longer cover the rent. The solution seems simple. Bring in new people. One of the page admins posts an open invitation, and within hours the message is shared far beyond anyone you know. The next gathering fills with unfamiliar cars. Some drivers wear your shirts. Others have the windshield banner you approved months ago. A few introduce themselves as members even though they have never stepped inside the garage, paid a bill, or helped tow anyone home. Every new face makes the room feel less like home. From a distance, it looks like growth. Up close, you cannot tell who is responsible for what. Nia shows you the numbers. Merchandise sales are rising again. The garage survives another month. But the same open invitation that brings in money also gives strangers permission to organize under the crew name. She wants the group closed. You refuse. Part of you still believes the logo can create standards. If enough people wear it, maybe the name will mean something larger than the original garage. Maybe strangers will act more carefully because they feel watched by the crew. Instead, the opposite happens. A new chat appears without your approval. Then another page begins posting meeting locations using a name almost identical to yours. People argue that the crew is too big for one person to control. They say you should be proud the movement no longer depends on you. You repeat that nobody is allowed to organize official events without permission. The warning gets buried under hundreds of messages. At the end of the week, Nia prints a list of every account, car, and name using the logo. Most of them mean nothing to either of you. The crew has never looked more powerful. You have never known less about who belongs to it. Level 8. The night you cancel. The crowd is already too large when you arrive. Cars are backed onto the street, pedestrians are stepping between moving vehicles, and people who have never spoken to you are shouting the crew name as if it guarantees control. Phones are raised before anything has started. The night no longer feels like a gathering. It feels like an audience waiting for somebody to make a mistake. You walk the area once. Traffic is heavier than expected. A family sedan is forced to slow near the entrance. 2 drivers are arguing about who runs first. Your members collected entry money for expected cars, while an imitation page is charging strangers for something you never approved. Nia tells you to shut it down. The old version of you would have searched for a compromise. Move the cars. Delay the runs. Ask everyone to behave. Keep the crowd happy long enough to protect the name. This time, you stop negotiating. You announce that the crew is finished for the night. No representative cars will run. Nobody has permission to use the crew name, collect money, or tell the crowd otherwise. The reaction is immediate. People accuse you of wasting their fuel and time. Members who drove for hours demand an explanation. Other crews laugh into their cameras. Someone says Jalen was right. You built a racing crew and then became afraid of racing. Where would you draw the line, and would you cancel the night? You return every dollar held by your members, even though the refunds leave the garage account short. The money collected by the imitation page is beyond your reach. Then you tell everyone associated with the official crew to leave. Some listen. Most do not. As you drive away, your phone fills with clips of the crowd, still gathering behind you. A live stream appears from an account using your logo. In the comments, strangers say the real crew stayed after its leader ran. You made the clearest decision of your life. But in the rearview mirror, the name keeps moving without you. Level 9. The name in the report. 3 weeks after the night you canceled, the logo appears on the morning news before you finish your first cup of coffee. The footage is shaky, but the windshield banners are clear. Cars are packed across an intersection while people stand in the roadway filming. An ambulance approaches with its lights on and cannot immediately pass. You recognize almost none of the vehicles. You were not there. You did not approve the gathering. None of the official drivers represented the crew. But the name belongs to you. Within an hour, Nia calls. The landlord has seen the report and wants every car removed from the garage. Members begin deleting photos and insisting the people in the video were never part of the group. They are partly right. Anyone could buy the sticker, enter the open chat, or create a page that looked official enough to attract a crowd. You allowed that system because it paid the rent and made the crew look powerful. Members gather inside the garage. Some want a statement blaming outsiders. Others say denial is the only way to protect their jobs. Nia places the merchandise records on the desk. The crew sold its identity to people it never verified. It accepted their money and counted their attention when the numbers looked impressive. Now everyone wants to pretend the connection never existed. You refuse responsibility for decisions made by strangers, but you accept responsibility for building a name they could use without limits. You shut down the official pages, cancel every public gathering connected to the crew, and tell members to remove the banners. The remaining merchandise is destroyed. It changes nothing for the lease. By the end of the week, the lifts are empty. Shared tools are divided into boxes. People who once called the garage home arrive separately so they will not be photographed together. Nia is the last person inside. She places the key on the desk where the unpaid bills used to sit. For years, you believed being absent meant a problem could not belong to you. Now your name is the only part of the night everyone remembers. Level 10, the leader without a banner. Dawn makes the paddock look smaller than you remember. There are no crowds at the gate, no live streams, and no strangers wearing a logo they bought online. Only 6 cars arrive. Nia brings a folding table, a clipboard, and the names of everyone who said they would come. For once, the list matches the people standing in front of you. The crew no longer has a garage, a public page, or merchandise money. Nobody is earning status from being seen beside you. The drivers pay their own entry fees, pass inspection, and wait for scheduled track time like everyone else. Some former members call it surrender. They say you could rebuild under a new name, design another banner, and make the comeback part of the story. A few offer to manage the page differently. Others promise the next group will be smaller, stricter, and impossible for outsiders to copy. You refuse. A new name would only give everyone another symbol to protect. Another excuse to measure the group by followers, stickers, and how many cars appear in one place. You are no longer interested in building something large enough to escape your control. The day is quieter than any night the old crew would have considered important. Cars run one at a time. Drivers return to the paddock and talk about tire pressure, braking points, and mistakes without needing a winner to humiliate someone else. Nobody blocks a road. Nobody has to disappear when lights appear in the distance. Nothing goes viral. Jalen does not return. The garage does not reopen. The old reputation is not restored. But when one car develops a problem, all 6 people stay. Before leaving, you stand beside your windshield and peel away the final strip of adhesive where the banner used to be. One of the drivers asks what the new crew will be called. You look at the empty glass. Nothing yet. For the first time, nobody needs your name to know where the line is.